Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for these issues. We're going to continue and finish our coverage of DC 1 million. We're actually going to do issues 3 and 4. I have a playlist for the JLA where I've been doing Grant Morrison's run, starting with JLA number 1, and I've got quite a few there, including JLA Earth 2 with Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly. So in this cover we have Solaris. All right, so in this page, all you really have to do is that Vandal Savage is going to declare war on humanity, and he is going to basically destroy the Earth. And so you see people fighting each other because of that virus that has been affecting. As I mentioned, I have a playlist. So Solaris Rising, Grant Morrison is a writer, Semeiks is the penciler, and Prentis Rollins is the inker. So here we have Zariel, we have the future Wonder Woman, we have Steel, future Aquaman, Plastic Man, future Superman, and Big Barda here. And they're saying, hey, we got to do this. If we don't finish this by morning, all of humanity will be dead. And asks Hourman if he's ready to join them. Hourman is feeling guilty because the virus used him, and he feels he's committed horrible crimes. Superman yells at him and says, I'm sick of your self-important adolescent whining. We have work. And then he apologizes because the virus is making them irrational. The future Flash here says, hey, we're losing it. I'm thinking things, but in the wrong order. And so Superman says that each panel has been different, which is a fourth wall break, of course. But that he is doing fine. Just keep working. So you can see Superman kind of losing his wits here, and Plastic Man thinks that they're gonna have to stop the new league. But Steel says, hey, we all have the virus too, and it's in our best interest to trust them and make hope that this all works out. Here, you can see that Plastic Man is so silly. I don't get him, but that's all right. He's a fan favorite. So, all right. Future Superman is just, like I said, he's kind of losing it. He's losing his powers, and then he thinks of Batman, and then future Aquaman says, interrogating Starman, and then Superman goes, what? He'll kill him. So, all right, and so here we are with future Batman punching Starman here, saying you betrayed us, you condemned the future, and he's gonna kill everyone. And look at him, oh, you're going crazy. And so Starman says, hey, you know, it's the virus in you. And Batman says, you're correct. The virus is causing me to get paranoid. What's his excuse, for doing what he did? I really do like the inside of the costume. I am normally not a huge fan, particularly in the 90s with computer-generated stuff. But in this case, it actually looks really good. So, all right. So we have Oracle here, who is Barbara Gordon, who was Batgirl during this time. She is, remember that the Joker shot her during the Killing Joke. So she is paralyzed during this era here. And so the Atom is speaking to her, and he says, hey, he cracked the virus, which is an electronic thing, kind of like nanites, I guess, is what I would say here. So Adam says that even though it's from the future, it's actually a simple biomechanism, and that all they have to do is download information into it by erasing parts, certain parts of the program. That's the thing about nanites; they're still machines, and so you could, in theory, replicate it for a lot of things, So Barbara Gordon asks Nightwing if he got it, and he says, "Yep." And they'll distribute the antidote, and then asks Arsenal here if he needs help. So there's a lot of stuff going on because these titles all kind of went through every single title DC was running during this time was connected. So we sort of get little pictures of stuff from the big picture. So anyway, all right. So now we have the Martian Manhunter here. And so he's speaking telepathically to Oracle and says that he can see through his enhanced vision. This is a nice action pose here. Very cool. And so he is going toward Vandal Savage and his blitz-engine and asked to be excused for a moment here. And look at Vandal Savage now. Cool thing about Vandal Savage is he's this immortal, mainstay, powerful villain. And he's in the current 2026 run of Batman that Matt Fraction is doing. He is the commissioner of Gotham City Police. So yeah, it's a very interesting because Vandal Savage is quite the villain. So here we go. He's going to use his machine on the Martian Manhunter. Another great panel here. Just so cool. And so the 90s were not all bad. There was really some good stuff. The art style, though, everybody just started ripping the Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld things, but that just became the new house style for the 90s. And it took, once the 2000 hits, then things started rechanging again. But anyway, so here comes Manhunter and takes care of these super tanks here. And now we're back to Batman and Starman. And so you can see Batman here picking up this weapon here. And so the Starman says, "Hey, I never wanted to be Starman. It was kind of thrown upon me when my dad retired. It's not what I wanted." Batman's like, "Do you want pity or respect? You are responsible for you could be responsible for the death of billions." And then he says, "What is that night fragment?" He says, "It's kryptonite." He's to make sure it ended up under the sands of Mars. It's a kryptonite bullet Solaris was going to use to assassinate Superman when he emerges from the sun in 85-71. And so Batman throws him his weapon back, and he says, maybe you were being mind controlled. Who knows? Don't let me down. So he throws it at him, and he goes, "Why are you returning this to me? Do you know what I could do with this?" And of course, Batman knows. He says, "Generate 15 million Kelvin units." So that is a hot temperature. So back in Egypt, Martian Manhunter dealing with Vandal Savage here. And these other heroes kind of show up here. The one of the things about DC, and I like DC. I'm a pro DC person. I follow Marvel and DC, mostly Marvel, but it isn't that I'm anti DC. The thing is that DC Comics really has a lot of B and C list heroes. They've tried to elevate them, but fans just for some reason some of these B, C, and D heroes don't elevate. For example, if you were to take the top, so the top are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. I'll give him Green Arrow, although Green Arrow is really more of a B hero. Who else would be A? So Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. Um, oh my goodness. Is there anyone else? Would you say Nightwing has been elevated to an A? Would Nightwing still be B? Um, all right. I already said Green Arrow, although, well, the big thing is that Marvel has more A-listers than DC. DC has a lot of characters that people just haven't really taken to. Harley Quinn, for all her popularity, it's mostly because of these movies, but Harley Quinn isn't that. I mean, her, I don't know. You've got here Tempest, which is an Aquaman. Aquaman I consider a B list, even though he's been in there. You know, they've tried Aquaman, and they tried Hawkman. They Supergirl, but I don't know. Ultimately, these books just don't sell very well, and that has been one of DC's things, is that outside of the main core of books, the Flash is another A-list hero. So, oh my goodness. Outside of these their prime heroes, their books really don't sell very well. Whereas Marvel has they've elevated more, I think, and so thus becoming more popular. So I do believe that there is a reason why people do still gravitate toward Marvel versus DC, and it's just simply the lack of DC trying to make better, more important, more grandiose type of heroics. So I think that's been DC's biggest problems, is they don't know what to do outside of their main heroes. So I digress. Let's go back to our story here. So Vandal Savage, they get him, and he's like, "You're not gonna get me." So he uses one of these arrows from Arsenal and escapes, just like that. See, um, even Supergirl can't get him. So anyway, they're like, he got away, and then Martian Manhunter says he'll be back. He always comes back. And of course, there's Vandal Savage say, "Not today, perhaps not tomorrow, but soon. Even if it takes 1,000 years, I can wait. I have forever." Because he is immortal. He's actually a very cool villain. Just always loses. So we'll see. And so the new JLA has created or brought back Solaris. They wonder and hope that everything is going to work out. And Future Batman says that they expect the good to win out. So, all right. So Solaris appears here. People are like, "Oh no, it's the end of the world because there's two suns." And you can see that those nanoviruses are being now absorbed by Solaris. So that's that. And so while Solaris is absorbing all these things, he, of course, becomes self-aware. But, of course, Hourman is like, someone has to stop him or he's going to destroy everything. Again, computer-generated from the mid-90s. Not a big fan of that. I did like it on the Cape, but it does make these comic books a little bit dated with the way the art, but really that's what comic books, because you look at the 50s and 60s, and there is a date to art, but I don't know. I never did like when they took these computer generated shortcuts, but now it's gotten even worse because now everything just gets photoshopped. So here comes our man to take on Solaris. And here we go. Continues doing his little thingy. This panel looks very John Byrne-ish. For some reason, it reminds me of John Burns. And he shoots this little thing at it. And so, here we go. Is this the end of Starman? Did I say Our Man originally? So, all right. All right, yeah, because this is Our Man. So, and so Our Man says, "Because of me, Solaris now exists. This era is doomed. And so he says, I have a plan. Solaris sabotaged my control protocols, but Starman sacrifice left Steel's chronal engine spare. We need your help, Wonder Woman. And so here is Superman now with us, and they're like, hey, you can't do this. It could destroy you. And Superman's like, maybe, but maybe I can tap all of the energies in my cells for one final effort and punch through the time barrier to the 853rd century. So, and so future Aquaman, who's even more cheesy than current Aquaman. I am not an Aquaman fan. He's like, Solaris is very powerful. Our only hope is that we build a time machine power enough for deep time travel. And of course, the Martian Manhunter is like, you underestimate the JLA. And of course, he's like, you guys are strong, courageous, but Solaris is a weapon. So, we need to, we need allies across eons. And Huntress is like, not really. And so, this guy's like, Wally and the other will be like cavemen against a jet fighter squadron, John. I'm sorry. And, Martian Manhunter says, not really. And Huntress says, it's fighting, but it's just a different kind of fighting. I have an idea to save the future. So, thus endeth issue number 3. And so the covers were very simple, of course, but I don't know, they're kind of cool and effective. So, all right, here is Superman, and he's trying to punch through time. And Flash explains here that he is trying to punch through the time barrier. And Wonder Woman tells him to stop. Every blow is draining solar energy away from his cells. And Zariel is like, hey, we lost 4 minutes. Time is getting badly bruised here. And Superman says, the Justice League can't stand alone against Solaris. I must try. So every time he hits, he is affecting time because, hey. And so here is Solaris here destroying things. And Death Star. So same creative team as a prior. So, all right. A lot of words here, but basically he's destroying everything in its path. And you can see here animals and vegetation, everything. And so here's Jupiter here, and we have this little time bubble here where the our JLA heroes are in there. Oh my god, Aquaman with the... Oh my god. Did Image Comics affect comic books or not? Goodness gracious, what they did to Aquaman here. So, all right, I'm going to just kind of translate you what all these words are here. So here we're just getting a recap of everything that sort of happened throughout between Vandal Savage and that Solaris. I like how some of these writers like Morrison just make up shit like strategy engine, a mathematical battle simulator. All right. And so, all right. And so Superman's the one that's been basically talking. And so Superman says this thing is designed basically to kill all Supermans. So, and so, Green Lantern's gonna go lead the way. Anyway, Batman says, hey, this thing thinks faster than anything we have ever have in the 20th century, but we do have a Flash. And Batman asks him, are you ready to think faster than the ultimate computer? And of course, Wonder Woman is like, my aircraft's liquid systems are bonding with the rounds table's own telepathic computer. A child could fly this situation. It's beautiful. We have pacifying weapons. Oh my goodness here. So, all right. And so here we go. So Flash tells him Solaris is coming, but there is no reference to any encounter with a Green Lantern. So this is Flash set up with this strategy engine. So Vandal Savage sends him this night fragment. I think that's that piece of kryptonite they were discussing in the previous, and then issue. And then he asks of the Resurrection Man and Vandal Savage, it's over. This time he won't be returning. All his strategies failed. So, all right, here we go. They're going to put the sands in Mars, but remember, here's John here, and this is of course the Resurrection Man here. He tells him this is all part of the plan. So the JLA have also been planning all these things. So for Grant Morrison writes a lot of weird stuff, so we just kind of go along with it. So I've always found it very difficult. Like, you have to read everything all at once. Reading each issue is just painful. But when you get the entire picture, then you're like, ah, okay, I see what he was heading at. So here is one of these super battles here. And so here comes a Superman, a great pose here. Very good stuff here. So, all right. And so essentially, I'm not gonna bore you with all the details because it's just hard to read it. But they are going to take on Solaris here. So Flash says, "Hey, we only have seconds before we can't take him anymore." But he realizes that if he destabilize his core and create a supernova. And of course, Kyle Rayner is like, "What? Is this even powerful enough? I can't do it." And Batman's like, "Yes, you can. The ring does whatever you think. Trust me, Green Lantern, and think big." And so, all right. And so, look at Batman. Concentrate, Green Lantern. And so, and look at us, future Superman, just getting so old here, still trying to get there. And he's like, oh. And he falls, but now he's back. So, hey, it's comic books. We can do whatever we want. Again, computer generated Earth, not a big fan, but here comes future Superman, and Kyle's using his imagination here, taking on the Star. Look at him; has him encased in a thing, and he's gonna try to make him blow up. And so, let's see here. And so Solaris is like, his Superman is already dead, and you can see that kryptonite. He says he's maneuvering himself into a position to attack the sun with that missile. And so they're helping Kyle here be able to kill it. And so what is happening with that kryptonite thing? Superman's trying to stop it, but it actually ends up going into the sun. What that piece of kryptonite's supposed to do is infect the sun so that the radiation now, instead of giving Superman powers, actually ends up killing him. And so he's like, he didn't stop it. Kryptonite's deadly. And so the future Superman is like, Solaris threatened to poison the sun to murder Superman Prime on his day of celebration. And so back, like I said, this story just it's just you just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Grant Morrison is can be a little difficult sometimes to people because he doesn't think normal. So, and so Martian Manhunter, made out of sand, here explains to the Resurrection Man basically everything that's been happening, but there was something, a lost power ring here. So let's see here. that's going to save Superman. And so Superman comes out of the sun. That's actually a good sort of Kirby-esque design. This is a very Kirby, for all its stuff, very Kirby-esque. And so, um, yeah, so Superman's basically an immortal. We have already established that, so everyone is happy. And we are guys just gonna move in. We're seeing epilogues here, and um, here is um his family. I guess is still immortal too. I don't know. Anyway, we're just gonna keep moving on here. So, the fact that we have this many epilogues is just kind of weird, but hey. But it does have a really cool ending here. We're just gonna get here into the very end here, and it's gonna be for Vandal Savage here. And like I said, this is just filler. It kind of ends with a lot of filler. So, Vandal Savage has now transported back into the Earth to start things, but he is actually in Montevideo where the whole thing starts in, and so he is, in this sense, he is supposed to die. So all this, he shows up, and boom, he shows up on the day. So this is supposed to be how Vandal Savage dies. So that's it. So DC 1 million 3 and 4. I now have the entire 4 issues covered. I do have a JLA checklist. Feel free to check that out if you so would like. I started with JLA number 1, and here we are. Like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.